Welcome to this lecture. Exercise: implementing a counter for instances of a class. Our aim here is to thoroughly understand class attributes. In this exercise, we are going to create a counter that will be incremented each time a new web browser object is instantiated. For example, start class web browser, add class attribute or properties or variables. Number of web browser is equal to 0. This is our counter. And class attribute connected and set true. Define constructor of class. Def double_unit self keyword comma page attribute. Self dot history is equal to a list. History is a list and initialize page attribute. Self dot page is equal to page. Self dot is incognito is equal to false. Increment counter when instance is created. This is a class attribute. Web browser dot number of web browsers incremented by 1 plus equal means incremented by 1. And the value of number of browser incremented by 1 and class browser. First check that the number of web browser counter is at 0. Print initially counter value before creating object. Web browser dot number of web browser class dot number of web browser. First check that the number of web browsers counter is at 0. Run the program. Counter value before creating object 0. No. Create the instance or objects of a class web browser. We have object Chrome of web browser class and initialize a web page www.google.com. Now check the value of counter variable. Run the cell. Sorry. Number of instance created 1 because we have 1 instance Chrome of web browser. Now run the program. Number of instance created 2 because we have two objects of class web browser, Chrome and Firefox. Activity number 28. Creating class attributes. Suppose you are designing a piece of software for an elevator company. A part of the software involves a safety mechanism to prevent the elevator from being used when it is filled past its capacity. Define a class called elevator which will have a maximum occupancy of 8. The elevator should be initialized with the number of occupants. If the number of occupants exceeds the limit during initialization, it should print out a message indicating that the limit has been exceeded and only initialize how many occupants should step off the elevator. The steps are as follows. Declare the elevator class by adding an occupancy limit class attribute. At the initializer, we will check whether the occupancy limit will be exceeded and print a message indicating how many people should alight. Finally, create a few instances after the class declaration to test the class out. This is the desired output of the activity. Solution of activity number 28. Start class elevator. Class elevator. Set the maximum limits of occupants. Occupancy underscore limit is a class attribute and initialized to 8. Define the constructor of class and check whether the limit of occupants has been exceeded. Define init self keyword number of occupants. Initialize the attribute occupants. Self dot number of occupants is equal to number of occupants. Check the number of occupants if exceeds from the limit. If number of occupants is greater than occupancy limit, then print the maximum limit has been exceeded. F is formatting output. This is the placeholder. Number of occupants, the value of number of occupants minus the value of occupancy limits. Calculates the extra occupants from limit. Self keyword for occupancy limit because it is class attribute. This occupants must be exit from the elevator and class elevator. Create an object of class elevator and initialize occupants attribute. Elevator 1 is the instance of class elevator and initialize value 6 or assign value 6 to elevator 1 attribute of number of occupants. 6 is the value of number of occupants attribute. Print elevator 1 has occupants, elevator number 1 number of occupants. Insert the line space. Print create an object of class elevator and initialize occupants attribute again. Elevator 2 elevator and 10 assign the elevator 2 is the another object of class elevator and 10 is the and 10 assign the value to number of occupants. Print elevator 2 has occupants, elevator 2 object of class elevator and the number of occupants its attribute. Now we run the cell. Elevator 1 has 6 occupants. There is no problem because limit is 8. The maximum, but in case of elevator 2 the number of occupants is 10. This is the problem because we have limit 8. The maximum limit has been exceeded. 2 occupants must be exited from the elevator because limit is 8 and we have value 10 and elevator 2 has occupants 10. So it means in elevator 2 occupants must be exited from the elevator. Thank you very much. See you in the next lecture.